Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Show Films. I'm Sen, your executive producer. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I particularly want to thank our $25 tier supporters over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms, those being Trevian Alexander, Samantha Bates, and Elle. Without whom we wouldn't be able to do nearly as much of the things we do now. So thank you very much for your support over the years. And those of you that are watching live, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Exandria Rising. The third episode of Exandria Rising. Granted, we haven't had an episode in a few weeks. It's like month 3, also episode 3. I've been sick. Things have been happening. We're all good now, theoretically speaking. Anyways. Hello, everybody. I am Sen. I am your game master for the evening, and I am joined this week by Shawnee.
Hi, I am Shawnee, or William, and I am playing Najka Flamehowl, the orc relic keeper, I think is the
currently
class
level,
that I'm currently
a level 0 relic keeper, yes. And Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I am playing Elafira, who is a water genasi. Okay, I swear to God, I was in roll 20 and I went back to the page and now I'm out of it. So fuck you, roll 20. I did what I was supposed to. A water genasi expert, specifically cheerleader.
Yep. And Craig.
I'll be playing Grouper, a Locantha Fisherfish animal pal.
What?
Pretty sure that's the class. Moving on.
He is, and I hate it.
And Jack.
I'm not a fisherman.
I'm Jack, and I'm playing 3 goblins, Meanie, Manny, Gatsby, and Peas, who are cohesively goblin relic keepers, level 0.
And Holly.
I am Holly. I am playing Davina, who is a Silky Folk courier.
And Trevian.
Trevian, I'm playing Tenebrous, a Jerbean cultist.
It just sounds like Jelly Bean.
Frisian.
It just sounds like Jelly Bean. I am a Jelly Bean cultist. And I don't know if that means that you are a sentient jelly bean, or that you are a member of the cult of the jelly bean.
That sounds like a Spelljammer character ready to go.
Both.
So Tenebrous worships the things in the sea. It could be a sentient jelly bean. That's actually a jellyfish.
I mean, we're buddies, man. You don't have to worship me.
Anyways, as always, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights. Jeremy, are you still just fuck Vince McMahon, or is anybody else that needs special mention today?
Oh Jesus! It's 2024. I could be here for like 3 days straight, just mentioning people.
Can we have a
generalized? Sit down, folks. Get some water.
Can we have a generalized noun for?
we need some more submarines.
Yes, we need many submarines.
Why do we? Oh, yes.
Take trips to the Titanic.
Because then people will go down to see the Titanic and it'll like implode.
I caught up. Yeah.
The mousetrap of the rich.
Hey, they are paying for the full experience, and they got it.
I got an alibi. You can't pin anything on me.
Yes.
Fuck Diddy.
What did P. Diddy do other than BP Diddy?
Oh, yes.
I mean, beat people up, specifically as partners.
Okay. Yeah.
That'll do it.
Caught on fucking video.
Yeah, well. And as always, this stream is powered by Sirenscape. We'll just transition smoothly from one to the other there. When last we left off, our group of level 0 adventurers had gone on a bit of a quest to help Najka gather the materials needed to craft her sort of pinnacle craft piece for her journey to become a master craftsman, her forge armor. The suggestion from her father had been to basically gather materials along the river, along the Skolt River as it flows through the Tuarnian jungle, because there's lots of materials. There's lots of just raw materials that you can find, or special metals or unique materials that can be found along that river. Heading upriver towards Iorna, in the middle of the Dolce Plains, on the island of Tuartikala, the party found that there was actually a lot of material in the river that they could find, including what seemed to be some sort of like mantis arm blade kind of thing. And there had been a few different sort of investigative checks had made in order to determine that it was probably coming from downriver from the Farosh Mountains. And they settled in for the night at the farming town at the split in the river of Iorna. After which, Grouper woke up to find that that at least one valuable shiny piece of metal had been stolen from him. And after doing a bit of investigating around town, determined that it had been taken by a small robotic crab scurrying preternaturally swiftly through the river. We rejoin, having our adventurers having reported this information to the guards, one of whom took to the river to sort of scout out and see if there was anything else. And the group of you regather at a materials depot that Najka had just finished acquiring all the materials necessary to build a raft from, as you pick back up. So you've all... I don't remember who went to the sheriff with Grouper.
Davina did.
But you are all gathering back together now at the materials depot where Najka has acquired the necessary wood to build a raft to go downstream towards the Tuair Cleft.
We also make sure we get some rope so that if we're underwater or we need to, tie off or haul, those of us who can swim could help steer a little bit. Have we ever been down close to the Cleft on this river?
None of you have in particular, not that you can recall, anyways.
Okay. I don't know the waters down there. I'm a little worried about how rapid the rapids are gonna get when everything gets close to the plunge into the Cleft.
Not a bad idea.
Thanks, babe.
For a ton.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
keep an
a
eye
good
out.
idea. We
And
should
we'll
acquire
want to
some
get
rope.
off the raft before it gets too close.
Does anybody have any rope already?
I mean, I have fishing line, and I did get a new reel, but that's it.
I'm assuming not, because I think most of the time you get rope from your adventuring kits from your class.
Yeah.
Usually, yes.
But
So
but we didn't get those kits because we don't have classes.
Yeah, you'll get those kits when you have classes.
You got plenty of class, babe.
So let's.
I do not have rope.
One day I will run a game where people are aware of their own, are like where all the characters are aware of the like gamified aspects of their reality. Just you wait.
I will 100% run a game of X Crawl,
Like
which is like,
oh god,
it's like televised dungeon crawling, where it's become like an extreme sport. It's great.
Well, that would be cool.
Oh my god!
because I just got done rereading Solo Leveling, so I've got a whole bunch of just like stuff in my head.
That is how you need to run Mountain of the Mad Mage.
Yeah,
Like
yes.
it's a televised
Because
sport
it's
event.
literally there's no storyline to Dungeon of the
That's-
Mad Mage. It's just like dungeon crawl time.
That's perfect.
I just
Right?
need to get enough views
I will. Yeah,
to increase my
that's,
rating.
Oh
That's-
my god!
you get. That's how X Crawl works. You get sponsors where you're like,
That sounds awesome.
before we
play
fight this
that.
beholder, I'm gonna crack into a case of extreme health potions.
Yes!
And Curamax. Yeah.
I love that. I love.
I want this.
Oh,
I
like,
love
guys-
lampooning capitalism with a fantasy setting. I love that. That's great.
Oh, you'll love it because it's set in the Empire of America. I have it pre-ordered. I will distribute amongst y'all and happily run it. It is a blast.
That's look forward to future programming. Anyways,
Yes.
I would believe that acquiring the materials to build a raft entails a decent amount of rope.
oh yeah, no, you've got
Mhm.
yeah, the money that you spent on the raft, you definitely have some rope as well.
Also, in the river before we used rope to try to tie around the mantis limb to pull it out. So somebody should have rope.
That's true.
Yeah, somebody should have rope. Unless we just no, we used your fishing line, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
We used my net.
Net.
That's
That
what
was
it
it.
was.
We used net. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, you've got. Are you constructing the raft?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
No, we just want to sit here with the supplies.
Do you have any? Do you have any specific? Nautica specifically. Do you have any tool proficiencies yet?
I have Smith's tools proficiencies already from my background. Let me. Yes,
So,
yes, Smith's tools
Tenebris is a shipwright
Hey.
Ah.
with proficiency in carpenter's tools.
So then, either one of you
Also-
can use one of your tool proficiencies with intelligence with advantage because you're helping each other out because you both have tool proficiencies and you can work together on this.
Peace has also established themselves as the assistant.
Your intelligence higher than 17.
No.
Tenebris. Cool.
No.
All right. I will take the lead then.
You're both working on this. The trick here is that it's not the actual physical labor of building a raft like this isn't particularly hard. It's making sure that you build it in such a way that it's not going to fall apart. And so using Tenebris's experience as a shipwright and Najka's experience as a craftsman and Pease's help from the good goblins,
18.
get an 18. Yeah, no, you are able to put together a relatively sturdy raft. There's not a lot of room. There's basically exactly enough room for the group of you to be on it, without it capsizing or falling over. And you do have like, effectively you can put like a rudder on it so that you can have rudimentary steering while you're going downriver to keep it from bouncing off the sides of the river.
Yeah.
You don't put a sail together because what's the point?
It's just going down the river.
Yeah. The current will take you.
Who needs a sail when you've got a current?
And yeah, do you want to craft an anchor or something, or just have rope and attach it to grouper and throw them over into the river when you're ready?
I don't know that we can put an anchor on this thing without capsizing it, considering.
Yeah,
You could,
Grouper
so-
can just tie it to something on the shore once he.
Yeah,
Once he goes
or
overboard.
something at the bottom. Yeah, we can do that for sure.
It would be so you wouldn't use a weight anchor for something like this. You would use a grapple anchor, which is basically something that's meant to grab onto something rather than to weigh the raft down.
Well, I figured that that Grouper would just be our grapple.
Okay. Mechanically, that will require Grouper to make a strength check to halt the raft long enough to tie it to something. Unless
Hey,
you're
guys,
swimming,
I
ahead.
got some bad news on that front.
Okay, then let's just make an anchor.
We'll make an anchor if we can.
I'm very smart. I'm happy to help out, but I'm a little guy.
Yeah, unless you
Fortunately,
swim out further ahead of the raft, which would require you to go into significantly dangerous waters to do it. And
Although, could Flop help me?
Flop help you tie a rope?
Yeah.
No.
Or hold it still.
Could Davina help?
Yeah, Davina. Yeah, anybody,
Yeah.
any other person that can swim could help. Yes.
I think
If a lot of
literally
us
everybody is
swimmers-
stronger than Grouper.
If a lot of us swimmers go out as a group, that way, multiple
Advantage in-
people, a bit
Yeah.
safety in numbers, etc.
Worst case scenario, we all jump overboard and drown. It's cool.
And also, additionally,
Worst case
mechanically-
scenario is that we jump overboard. Is that we go off the cleft.
Yeah, that is jumping overboard.
It's not drowning, it's being crushed on rocks.
So also
Very overboard.
mechanically, just using a rope will require checks. Having a grapple anchor will make those checks easier. That's the other part of it.
We'll build an anchor if I have the materials to do so.
You do. All right. You got everything you need. You've got the raft ready to go. You are at one of the docks in Eorna. It's currently tied up to a post. There had been talk about potentially discussing different things to do other than going down the river. So if there's anything you want to do before you get onto the raft, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Anyone got anything else to do before we take off?
I'll be honest, I don't remember what things we were going to do other than go down the river.
Yeah.
The only other thing was try to investigate the crabs some more.
There-
Which
Going
then we
down
found
river.
out was that the crabs are likely carrying the stuff somewhere further down the river or somewhere
Yeah.
else. So
So investigating them is going down the river.
the if I'm recalling correctly, there had been someone wanted to talk about possibly going into the mountains.
No, that was a conversation between Najka and Grouper about the mountains potentially being an option, and Najka had already said that we're probably not going to find anything useful in the mountains. At least not as much of what we would need.
All right. So, if there's no last minute anything that anyone wants to do while you're still in the relative safety of Eorna, you can hop on the
Let's
raft.
get on the road. Well, on the raft, but
You hop on the raft and take off. The current Grouper, those of you that were swimming on the river earlier know that the current here is not, while you're in town, it's not particularly strong. You have to actually just like sort of oar yourself out of town. Everyone make me perception checks really quick while you're oaring yourself out of town.
I would be in the water in case that makes it harder or easier.
15.
So you're in the water right now,
Oh.
Grouper?
Yes.
So
If Grouper is, so am I.
the good goblins, and Grouper don't notice this, but the rest of you see that there are a pair as you're approaching sort of the edge of the canal. There's like built up canals throughout the town, and then they obviously have a limit at the edge of town. You see that there are these sort of small glowing blue rune stones on either side of the canal. And you're not certain necessarily what those specifically do, but you can tell by looking at the water that as soon as the water passes out of town, the current picks up rapidly. Because you're swimming Elefira, it'll probably be hard to keep up with the raft once it exits town if you're in the water.
Okay.
I was picturing we were sort of holding on to it, staying good and wet, but
All I can imagine is they're hanging off the back and they're what's steering us and pushing us
Just-
out.
yeah, a
Just-
little bit.
Just water ski with it. Hold the
So-
rope, water ski your way along.
So you're holding on to the back end of the raft?
Yo, well, you know what? Grouper didn't notice the speed thing, so nothing. He has nothing to add.
I'm going to absolutely bring it up, especially since it's relevant to those of us in the water.
Should we maybe just tie ourselves on? I mean, we got the ropes.
I would not tie yourself to this raft considering it's going over the edge and you have to untie it before you leave. Maybe just
That's a
hold on to
really
the back.
good point.
He
Okay.
shuffles his way towards the center of the raft.
Yeah, Najka's just operating the rudder to try and keep this thing steady.
We could just hop on the edge.
Like, how much estimation is the speed going to become an issue for something like that? To where, like, obviously, random outside elements aside,
You can either give me
Is it going to be fast enough that it will be an issue to just hop on?
You can give me either one of your choice: nature, survival, or arcana.
May I do the same or no, because I didn't notice?
Now that it's been pointed out,
Now it's been pointed out, yeah, you can make those as well.
what is it? Nature, survival, or arcana?
Nature, survival, or arcana.
I am equally bad at nature and arcana and worse at survival, so I will go nature.
24 survival.
3.
Right.
Well, fine.
With the 24 survival grouper, now that it's been pointed out, it looks like the river picks up by an order of magnitude as far as current once it passes those rune stones. With a 10, Holly, Davina, just believe the good guys were just one low for the DC. Davina, you can tell that those runes are abatement runes. Basically, what they do is they reduce the flow of the current while it's in town by about 95%.
Oh God.
So it's going to go from a gentle stream to rapid movement as soon as you pass those rune stones.
Okay.
So with that 24
swimmers?
grouper, the raft is going to fucking rocket as soon as it hits that current. It'll be pushing you along too at a similar speed. The issue is that you will be going faster than the raft because you're a smaller thing to be moving and less weighed down. And so it will just shoot you out past the raft if you're not holding onto the raft tightly.
Okay. Well, it kind of looks like just for safety's sake, we might want to go ahead and get on.
Yeah. It's
I'm
gonna
fine
pick
with that.
up a lot after it passes those runes.
So, do the people in the water, do you all hop on the raft?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Just hop up on this side.
You don't notice the movement until the raft is fully past the runes. But once the raft is fully past the runes, the last bit of that abatement aura vanishes, and you're all. Najka's holding on to the rudder. Was everyone holding on to something on the raft?
Is there a lot to hold on to?
There are ropes. When you're making a raft like this, there's definitely going to be some loose rope that you can use as a handhold.
Then yes. And Pease has also moved himself to the center.
Okay.
He does not want to fall off.
Yeah. So if everyone's holding onto the ropes, no checks need to be made. And yeah, the raft, it almost jumps as it suddenly accelerates, and a little bit of the raft leaves the water temporarily before splashing back down and continuing on. You can all feel that this is significantly faster than you would have been able to go on foot, even running. Like mechanically, the raft is currently moving 60 feet around. Like it's twice as fast as you guys move normally.
What does that do for us if we're in the water? Do we move that much just standing still, and then we can try to swim against it, or
exactly? Yeah. If you're in the water, basically, if you're in the water, the current is moving fast enough to push you forward at 60 feet around.
Okay.
So you would, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to change the subject. I had a question for Elefina. If this is something that Grouper would know, does Elefina have a connection to water when she's in it or on it as a genasi?
Like, what kind of connect? I mean,
is this basically like, is this unsettling for Elefina? Would this be like a mood enhancer?
Is
there no effect whatsoever?
I don't think there's a huge effect.
Okay.
Mostly because She feels the same thing about water as she feels about being on land, which is, yep, it's ground.
Okay, all right.
She's not very nature connected.
No, I just was curious if the
Yeah.
Genasi nature had any kind of.
I don't think, not that I'm aware of, at least.
Okay, cool. And then same question, sort of for Tenebris. Tenebris is a worshiper of things in the water or of the water itself.
Of things in the water,
Okay, all right,
particularly of the sea. So
Things of the deep.
got it.
yeah,
Got it.
The thought-
That which resides in the deep.
Sin asking if everyone was hanging on made me think it's like, no, Tenebris isn't hanging on, and this is about to become a Looney Tunes cartoon, and
Oh.
he just goes flying.
Is he not? Or was that just?
He's
a joke?
smart enough. He's probably hanging on.
Okay, go. I just wanted.
The thought was if he wasn't, he would go
Yeah.
There you
flying.
go. Very possibly. But yes, at the rate that you're currently moving, you can tell they had given you an estimate previously of like a couple of hours to get to the cleft. You can see why now. Because you're moving fast.
Because he's having a great time.
Can we hold on to something and stick like heads below water, or is that just going to be horrendously painful?
It won't be horrendously painful unless you hit something. Yeah, you could hold on. You could strap yourself down with a rope and stick your head under the water.
Okay. Then the grouper will say out loud, I'm thinking if everybody's okay with it, I might just grab on real tight, get over to the edge, and just gently stick my head, at least my eyes underwater, just to see if I see any more crabs or maybe spot some more of that metal or anything weird. Is everybody okay with that?
If you see any crabs, I'm gonna shoot them.
Should someone maybe like hold on to you while you do that?
I
So you
will
don't fall over and die?
Yes.
My concern is we're moving so quickly that by the time you see them, we're well past it.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be good to know. Also, if I recall correctly, the one that we saw didn't look like it was being affected by the current, which was much slower, but
Yeah, the
is
crab.
that right?
Yeah, the crab didn't seem like it was being affected by the current at all.
Okay.
But it was
So-
also moving hella fast, wasn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we might catch up to it. We might shoot on by it. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't want to cause problems, but it seemed like it might be a way to gain some information.
If you can do it safely, go ahead, but be careful.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Manny's gonna move up next to where
Grouper.
Grouper totally blanked. Where Grouper is getting ready to do this and get the gauntlet ready.
Okay.
Hand and gauntlet. You just like slight hum of electrical power flowing to the gauntlet before it stops. Yeah. So yeah, with people holding on to you and you holding on to rope, just stick your head under.
Sitting
Go ahead and-
down, grabbing your hand.
Go ahead and give me a perception check, Grouper.
Yeah, 13.
Stick your head under with a 13. It doesn't look like you're not seeing anything standing out as you're traveling. It does feel like this current is probably strong enough that unless something gets stuck real good, nothing's going to really be. The current going down towards Skrios was a lot calmer than this current.
Okay.
So, yeah, this definitely seems like it's not quite as likely to find scraps of things down below. And yeah, you're no hide nor hair of that crab. Either it's maintaining its distance ahead of you, or you've already passed it.
Okay. Does it, other than the obvious arcane influence of the runes slowing the current in Aorna, does it seem weird geographically that it's so much faster this way, or is it just an issue of tilt and the fact that there's a waterfall up ahead of us?
You're pretty certain it's the angle that it's heading down at, and the fact that there's the cleft at the end.
Okay.
Make me a nature check though, while you got your head under.
Not my strong suit, but I'm happy to try. A consistent 13.
With a 13, yeah, it feels like, from what you can tell, it feels like this is probably just a natural, just a natural result of the angle of the river. It might
Okay.
be a little bit faster than you'd expect, but if it is, you're not sure why.
Okay.
Other than, you know.
All right. Yeah. Can't say fairer than that. All right, I will just sort of have my webby fingers intertwined as best as physically possible with Elefina's hand and continue this weird head down vigil.
No, all right. So it's going to be about 4 hours before you get to the spot where you need to start thinking about getting off this raft, or you're going over the cliff too. So what are y'all doing in that time? You can have a short rest if anyone wants to, although I don't think you've expended any resources so far. But yeah, over the course of that 4 hours, what's everybody doing?
Nashka is steering, so she's focused on the rudder on the river.
Trying very hard not to accidentally smash Grouper's head into the side of the river.
Pretty much.
I mean,
she's going to be doing something similar to that when they get too close, and that she's going to start grinding the raft against the bank so that she can try and hook something on and slow the raft down against the riverbank. So
Yeah. Jeremy, were you about to say
holding
something?
my boyfriend's hand for the entire time so he doesn't fall into the depths.
Oh, yeah. I have water vehicles proficiency, but I'm sure I'm not the only one in the group. So if anyone needs help steering, certainly I think that would be common knowledge. You could tap Grouper and get him out of the water.
Like Tenebris also has water vehicle.
Okay.
Fortunately, this isn't complex enough to require water vehicle proficiency. This is just going to be an athletics check to hold the rudder. If you were to need to do something more complex.
fortunately, I'm good at that.
Yeah.
Tenebris is kind of like bouncing around a little bit, not like actually bouncing.
Yeah,
going around and
water vehicles proficiency would be needed if you were trying to use a sail or any more complicated things than just
Do I need anything more complicated than just a rudder?
Than a raft with a rudder.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
is that out of excitement, or is that just sort of a standard?
He's kind of bouncing around, like inspecting the raft.
Cool. Okay.
Because
Nice.
I just had to help build this entire thing, not just perform maintenance and slight repairs.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check while you're looking around it, Jovian.
Investigation.
18. With an 18, yeah, no, it looks like y'all did good work putting it together. It's all the ropes are lashed tightly. Nothing is loose that isn't meant to be loose. Like the handhold ropes are obviously meant to be loose, but nothing's pulling apart. You haven't hit anything that's done any significant damage, so it looks like it's holding together fairly well.
Is this the first ship that Tenebris has built? I know Tenebris is a shipwright, but how much of that is repair versus construction?
Like this would have been the first thing built from the ground up entirely.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yep.
Because for the most part, he'd be just finishing like his apprenticeship.
Okay.
Most of what
And-
you would have done would be like maintenance and repairs before this.
All right.
I just have to note that as soon as you said all the ropes are lashed, in my head immediately the response was, "And the skies are gray." I'm glad somebody got the musical reference.
Is Davina doing anything, Holly?
Davina is staying near Ella and Grouper, just in case this whole thing goes south and both of them go in, which she's fully expecting to happen at some point. So
Just a water goblin just pops up and grabs Cooper and drops back down.
It's Jenny Greenteeth. Out of curiosity, what is the relationship like between Ella and Davina? Is there do they get along well? Is there? I would imagine not from Davina's point, but Ella strikes me as the sort of mean girl vibe sufficiently that she might be a little jealous of that relationship.
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
because sure, Mean Girl vibe, and that is you are 100% on there, but like I see her more of like a mix between like not Regina George,
Okay.
more one of the other plastics, like a mix between that and like Elle Woods.
Okay. All right.
So
Mm.
like uh, very much friends, I think, from Ella's standpoint.
Okay. Cool.
Davina gets along with basically any and everyone. And I feel like she is very encouraging of this relationship between the two of them. So she
Oh,
likes Ella. She thinks that she is good for Gruber.
that's so sweet. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Yep.
There we go.
Like we're the group of us all are the friend clique. So everybody here is cool.
Hey guys, we should totally call this raft the Friends Forever.
Nothing bad will ever happen to us.
Let's not name a raft that is about to be intentionally dumped over a waterfall anything emotionally significant.
I know I'm just a kid, but it's weird. I've only got 2 weeks to retirement.
Just call it the Cleft Diver.
No, we won't.
The Good Goblin's up to anything?
We're
Jack?
calling this disposable.
He is positioning himself like equidistant between the center of the raft and whichever good swimmer is closest to the center of the raft, because he's not enjoying this.
Cool.
Meanie Manny is eyes directly into the water. The minute a crab shows up, he's gonna get that fucker. He's got it out for them. They stole shit. That doesn't fly. And Gatsby's just having a great time. We're going fast. There's water in the air. It's just a lovely day. We're just having a good time.
Go ahead and give me a perception check for the Good Goblins.
We are so perceptive.
Yep, Meanie Manny's staring at that water. She definitely
Flop.
can. It's hard to see anything beyond the surface of the water because it's the surface is being disturbed by the
water
raft
goes
and it's
that
going really
fast.
fast. Yeah, but he's definitely staring at that water.
Is Peace standing in the middle of the raft?
Peace is in that. Let me maximize my ability to balance squat. My
Okay.
ability to balance and also move away from danger.
So
Squat.
Peace has something approaching a lap at this point, right?
What?
It has something approaching a lap, like you're
Yeah.
crouching, sitting, and up. Okay,
Yeah.
so Flop moves over. If this is okay, I rolled a 16 on an insight check for Flop. Flop comes over and puts her head down, like on Peace's knee.
That's so sweet. Flop's getting a big ol' hug.
Okay. And is just there doing the because seals are basically sea dogs, doing the seal thing of like, I can't talk and I don't have hands, so I'm gonna make you feel better with as much of my weight as possible, and just sort of like leans on you.
Yeah, no, Peas is holding on because if he goes overboard, why can't I remember names today?
Flop.
Flop is going to be the life vest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Emotional support flotation device.
Exactly, exactly. And also, we'll just pressure squeeze the anxiety out of you. Will be your weighted blanket.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You can't pressure squeeze the anxiety out of Peas. Peas is 100% anxiety. All right. So, anything else before we get to where we need to start potentially risking our lives? All right. After a few hours, Grouper, you can tell first because your head is in the water, but the water is beginning to get choppy as it approaches, and you all can hear very loudly in the distance the sound of the falls that are up ahead, and you're beginning to be able to see the horizon has gotten a lot closer than it should, and there's things beyond the horizon that you can see as well. So you can tell that the cliff is upcoming, and this is about the time where you need to be doing something to stop the raft or get off.
Yeah. So Notch goes, "All right, everyone, get ready to get off." And Notch is gonna like tilt the rudder to try and just slide the raft up against the bank to try and grind up against it to make friction to hold it to slow it down.
All right, give me an
While
athletics
she
check.
tries, while she hands off the hook for someone else to plant in the bank.
All right, athletics check for the rudder. Who's trying to plant the hook in the grappling hook in the bank?
We're throwing it.
Either throwing it or just slamming it down when the raft gets to the bank.
How close are we to the bank?
Yeah, that's
The ideal is that's going to depend on you when you get up there.
And I get
and roll
advantage
checks.
from someone assisting.
so. Here's the thing:
Do you ask for?
if we get within 5 feet, I will just create a walkway.
Johnny, I will
Shape
assist you.
water. I'm gonna freeze the water, and we can just walk right
There we go.
across.
Yeah, but we have to get off of it fast enough before we pass the wall.
Absolutely. Well, I can also time it if need be ahead of us a little bit.
Yeah.
With,
It could also be for one person to run across and slam down the hook.
with assistance
That too.
from Tenebris. That's a 20.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Nashka, you begin maneuvering the rudder, and something hits the rudder, and it begins to lock up. And Tenebris, seeing that you're suddenly struggling, just like shoulder checks the rudder and helps you get it free from whatever it was, and you jerks a little bit aside, and yeah, the raft rapidly approaches the bank. It's
Okay.
now- so now you're gonna
How rapidly?
very rapidly, like you're within a round, you'll be at the bank. So 6 seconds.
On a dangerous level of approaching, like we're gonna crash into the bank? Or
Yes. Mostly because there's not really any other way that you can't really slow down. So it's gonna be a crash into the bank. Which
so
I think was the intention.
instead of that,
the intent
I'm
is to like
using
grind the thing up against the bank to try and like slow it down. It
Yeah.
might crash a bit, but it's trying to like
Yeah.
grind
So,
it
Jeremy.
to try and slow down.
do we just want to be on the bank from here?
Yeah.
I'm instead I'm freezing the ice to make a ramp that we are going up and right onto the
Oh,
bank.
just like ramp
Nice.
the raft onto
yeah.
onto the
Yep.
shore.
What's your spellcasting
Shape
ability?
water. It's shape water. My spellcasting ability is that's a good question because technically, let me see.
Yeah,
You're gonna say from the thing that gives you the
Yeah, I know. I'm looking.
I think the new Genasi stuff you get to pick.
Constitution.
Oh,
Constitution?
okay.
All right, so give me a Constitution roll. Just a Constitution roll with proficiency. So
Okay. So add 2 to this. 11.
All right. Everyone else, give me acrobatics checks.
17.
Oh no.
Well, we lost Davina.
Peas is at this
Right.
moment locked on to
They
Flop.
got launched all the way down the river.
So Flop is coming with Peas.
Yay!
So-
It's a
I'm
party
curious.
in the water.
I'm curious what's happening.
You'll find out in a
Because,
second. Go ahead.
well, I specify because as a Derby, I'm good at jumping.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the trick here is, so with a 9 Constitution on the spellcasting check, sorry, 11. With an 11. Yeah, with an 11 on the spellcasting check, you've made a ramp. The trick is you're trying to make a ramp out of fast-moving water, very rapidly and in a hurry. So it's not a good ramp. It's just like a blade of ice that just sort of like comes up at an angle. So the raft hits this blade and flips one side. The problem is it's flipping towards the water. So you are all trying to kind of rapidly get up and over and off the raft to get onto the shore. You all make it. It's
It
just that,
should be clear.
go ahead.
You said you did not tell me to roll. So am I just going one way or the other?
You're I didn't tell you to roll acrobatics because you're in control.
You said
of the ice.
everybody else.
Yeah.
so
Don't worry about it. You're
okay.
You'll be fine.
Like I'm just staying on the raft, so I'm definitely going in.
I do not like it when Sen says, "Don't worry about it."
Right?
Najka and Flop are able to absorb the landing as you tumble off the
And Peas is fine too because Flop is attached to Peas.
Who's
Yes.
your good girl?
As you tumble off the raft into and onto the ground. Everyone else except for Elefira takes 3 points of damage as you hit the ground much harder than you would have liked to. Elefira, you send the spike up, and the raft goes up with it. And because you were holding on to Grouper earlier earlier. I'm thinking you were on like basically the opposite end of the raft. So you watch as everyone scrambles and the raft flips up. The raft actually flips over you, and you are in the air for the briefest of moments before you skid onto the bank on the other side of the water knife. Basically, your spellcasting check, because you were doing that, I was substituting for an acrobatics check.
Fair.
Does it look cool as hell?
I mean, that sounded cool as hell.
Sounded cool as hell.
That's up to y'all.
I'm sorry, William, I need help. I pressed something and something happened to the character sheet and I can't undo it.
What did you do?
I don't know.
Well, you can see something happened. What did you do?
I pressed this.
Yeah, that's because that's your settings page.
Yeah.
Davina has
but
If you go back to
Oh,
core, you'll
Maybe
notice you have
probably
core,
took-
bio, spells, and settings. They're different
Yeah.
tabs on your character sheet.
You picked a different tab.
Meaning, and he probably took all that damage because he would have tried to grab Gatsby, and then also Peas was attached to Flop.
Yep. So yeah, Meanie caught Gatsby and then landed on his back.
Took 3 points of damage.
Yep. So assign 3 points of damage, and yeah, as you all land and look back, you see that raft just basically flipped over into the air, splashed back down into the water, and continued on.
That was cool as hell, man. What a great idea.
Thank you. Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm fine.
I know mechanically medicine doesn't do anything and help us here, but Grouper would like to go around and just kind of check on everyone.
Not until someone has a specific feat that makes it do something, but
Sorry, guys. I thought it was going to be a little bit more smoother and we would all look really cool instead of
Oh my
just
god,
me.
everybody's broken.
I mean,
Well, like, Tenebris is just on the shoreline saluting the raft as it goes past.
after a few seconds, you watch as you're watching the raft like wobble as it goes over the rapids. You watch it take air for a moment and then just disappear over the edge.
As it starts to go over, I'm like, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. And then whoosh, it'll be okay. And then we hear the sounds of it splintering.
No, you don't hear anything. Once it goes over the falls, you do not hear what happens to that raft. It's too far away,
too far down,
and too far down.
It'll be fine. It's just going to the raft dock in the sky.
Is Tenebris okay with like friendly gestures, like a hand on the shoulder, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Grouper will sort of get up, dust himself off, look around with my 5 on my medicine check. Everybody looks great. Grouper figures he's the only one who's hurt. And walks over, puts a hand on Tenebris' shoulder and goes, "That was a really great job on that raft. It did exactly what we needed it. Great work."
You are now. I've shifted for the stream. I've shifted it over to the Roll20 overlay just for a moment. You are now here at the just above where the river hits the cleft.
Sorry, can you shift click that?
Oh, where the animated arrow is.
Yes.
Just such a big image that it's not necessarily
That's fair.
on screen.
right? And to be fair, you say Elefira was the only one who looked cool. I think Najka with a 17 acrobatics looked pretty cool, leaping over the fucking thing as it tried to flip.
Yes, but this is Ella, and Ella probably did not notice that. And since everybody else sprawled, just assumed that everybody sprawled. and she was the only one who looked cool.
Yeah. Also, Grouper's not dating Najka yet.
Also fair.
Gruber does turn to Najka and sort of repeat the same thing though and say, "You all did an amazing job."
This is the game where Grouper, over the course of the campaign, slowly begins dating the entire party.
Grouper,
Davina.
Grouper has become the Titania of this campaign.
What's D&D besides an excuse to have a polycule?
All right.
Excuse me, we're all adventurers. It's a polyarmory.
Fuck you.
In D&D, we practice polyarmory.
A plus.
One
No.
weapon is enough.
I mean, yes, but no.
All right. So, you find
I
yourself.
cannot claim that joke. That belongs to Red from OSP and wherever she may have heard it from.
Assuming you guys want to take a look, do you all head towards the cleft to see what it looks like?
I mean, yeah, Najka wants to see what the disposable just met its end by.
Yeah.
You head over. You head a little bit closer, because the edge is in sight, and you can see the unlike what you would expect a naturally formed cliff to look like. This is just a sheer drop with make a perception check when you all get here for what exactly you can see. It's just a sheer drop down. There's no texture to the cleft itself going down.
I see a drop and foaming seawater and possibly the splinters of a raft.
Foaming seawater, sharp rocks, what look like sharp rocks anyways at the bottom. You don't see the remains of the raft. It's gone. Where you're at right now, you're about halfway up the lean of the island. And you can see that this is a large enough drop that any of you would just die. This is a large enough drop that most people would just die if they were to fall over this edge.
No texture as in like geographically odd.
Yes, geographically it would be odd because there's no normally with a cliff face you would have like rocky outcroppings and like it would be uneven and like it wouldn't be smooth and sheer like it is like this cleft is.
It's sheer as if, for instance, a giant object had cleaved this place in twain.
Yes,
yeah, less karst, more cursed.
Yeah. With a 21, with a 21, Davina, the only one that beat the DC.
I got a 19.
Yeah, DC was 20.
Oh, geez, way to go, Davina.
Yeah.
Davina, you noticed that on the far cleft, there's everything is smooth and it's hard to see because there's a lot of fog being kicked up. There's a lot of mist and fog being kicked up from the water below. But sort of peering through the fog, you can see that there is what seems to be a perfectly smooth circular hole in the far side of the cleft, like at a distance a bit like over and like several 100 feet down. Just something that strikes you as odd that you wouldn't expect to see in a natural occurring thing like this.
Like a cave hole.
Yeah, like maybe a cave hole or something. It's hard to, even with a 21, it's hard to tell. But like, yeah, it's this perfectly smooth circle hole in the far cleft.
Davina will point in that direction. There's a hole.
Is it large or little? I assume it's little.
It's hard to tell at this distance, but definitely looks large. Like,
oh, Bina, how'd you even see that? That's amazing.
She shrugs.
Well, it looks weird.
It's a perfect circle.
Might be worse. Well, there's no way we're going to get to look at that without having to climb down the cliff. So let's get moving north, east. We've got to get to the wall.
And from this distance, looking northeast, you can actually see if you look southeast, you can kind of see the southern wall, but you can easily see the north wall from where you're at. It is this large. It's like somebody took a bridge, like a stone, like an arching bridge, across the cleft, expanded it out in every dimension, and then built a castle on top of it. But yeah, you can very easily see the north wall from where you're at.
Does it have supports that just like descend all the way down to the ocean level?
No, it has supports that go into either side of the cleft and attach down. Like it can't go all the way down structurally, but it does go into the sides rather than straight down.
All right, we're gonna be marching uphill for a bit, so
Into the sides, and then there are also 4 large support pillars on either end, like two on either end to structurally hold it, to anchor in the bridge.
yeah. I've seen this gap in Thanalan.
Which gap in Thanalan?
There's a giant bridge that covers like an enormous chasm in Thanalan.
Bigger than
The
that.
one, yeah.
Bigger. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Bigger than that. But yeah, it's a couple hours. It's a couple hours walk north. By the time you get there, it will be getting dark. Is there anything you want to do on the walk?
Sheesh.
Something I should be wanting to do that I'm not thinking of.
No, up to you. I'd just like to give that space to see if there's any conversations or anything anyone wants to have. And if not, that's fine. After a few hours, night's beginning to fall, and you reach the north wall. The north wall is again this massive. Basically, it's a castle bridge. It is a bridge that crosses the cleft that has been turned into a castle, and you can see from a distance the wall guards or the wall guardians that are keeping a watch out. They don't seem particularly like aggressive or defensive. This is not a place that sees a lot of action. It's just there to serve a very important purpose, which is to keep people from getting killed in the Tuair jungle and things from the Tuair jungle coming over here to kill people. So upon arriving, you can present the documentation that you've been given to the guards outside. They will notify the guard captain and let you in, and you are able to get into the north wall.
Cool.
Oh, that's the wrong. I can't move it from there. I can move it from over here. So the wall itself on the inside, it's kind of hard to even tell, except for the occasional sound of waves below you. It's hard to even tell that you're over the cleft because the sides of the bridge are built up and the ground is maintained. If there is any indication anywhere that the bridge is beginning to have some structural instability, there is a crew there repairing. In fact, you can see that there's actively currently sort of like a space off to one side where there are a rope barrier has been erected, and there's a mage and a couple of stonemasons that are currently working on reinforcing part of the bridge that seem to have taken some damage somehow. They're looking around. Looks like there's probably somewhere on the realm of about 100 people here. So not a very large population on the bridge, but enough to maintain it and keep it up. And you are brought to what was his name? I told you what his name was, and then I've forgotten what it was.
That's fine. So have we.
Steve.
Hey, Steve.
This is when I go, did anybody take notes? No one took notes. You find the guard captain.
Hi, have you met me?
You find the guard captain, or are taken to him, and he'll look over the things. The guard captain is a human, wearing very clearly decorated like gear. The sort of the outfit is uniform with the rest of the guards, but there are clear indications of decoration, most likely coming from whatever his job was before being a guard captain, because you're not certain who would give him decorations for his position here. But they're the sort of decorations that you wear to indicate a history. This man is definitely getting on in age. He looks to be somewhere in his mid to late 50s. And looks over the paperwork that you've handed to him. All right. So this is going to allow you through, but word of caution: once you're through on the other side, try to stick towards the river, and don't wander off unless you've got someone with you. That the jungle is dangerous inherently from the things that live in it, but the greater danger are the unknown things that are in it. There are more than just jungle beasts. There are constructs from an ancient time. Some of them might be pre-calamity. There are buildings that no one knows how they got there, and there are occasionally random wandering magical effects that you might stumble across in the jungle. So
That sounds really cool.
keep an eye out, keep your senses open and aware, and don't wander away from each other. Most importantly, if you feel like you're in over your head, get back here. Or find a patrol. We do occasionally there is a patrol that wanders between the north and south wall within the jungle, just in case. It has a regular patrol route. It will leave the north wall. One patrol leaves the north wall in the morning and arrives at the south wall in the afternoon, and one patrol leaves the south wall in the morning and arrives at the north wall in the afternoon. So, if you spot one, that is safety.
Is there anything we can do to help out while we're out there?
Don't die.
Okay. Cooper looks around at the others. I mean, I think we were planning on not doing that anyway.
Nodding.
Don't die, and try to handle your business as quick as possible.
That's the rule.
Sorry, go ahead.
That was all Notchka had to say on the matter.
Okay. How perfunctory does this seem? Like, how bored/worried is this person actually?
Give me an insight check.
18.
Not bored. He's not bored. This is relatively standard as far as you can tell. This is a relatively standard sort of bit of information that he gives to anybody that goes in the jungle.
Okay.
This is somebody who, if the things that could be found in the jungle weren't valuable, he would probably prefer that nobody ever go there. This is somebody who is being required to let people through against his better judgment.
Okay.
More
Has
than
seen
anything
too many
else.
people go through and not come back, probably.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But somebody who seems like he actually cares about his job.
Yes, he cares very much about the job of the walls, and
Okay.
dislikes being asked to let people through.
Okay.
Not- and entirely because he doesn't want people to go through and die because they're not prepared for what they're going to face.
Yeah, the grouper will say, "Don't worry, we're not going to give you anything extra to worry about."
If you want to rest up for the night and go out in the morning, there are bunks available to you, and he'll just indicate back further out where you'll be able to find or be led to where those are.
That'd probably be ideal. We're just trying to gather some materials and be on our way out, so
All right.
get some rest, move out in daylight.
Is there somewhere we could get some food? We have corn.
Mess up.
We don't want to.
You don't have to pay. Mess hall's just next to the bunks.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some rest and be ready to move early.
Good to me.
Right. You all head over to the mess hall where you can
Yep.
get some food.
Yeah, for sure.
The food is this is barracks food. It is not the best food you've ever tasted. It is nutritious and calorically dense.
Do
Like, yeah,
It's your rations, just not preserved in a bag.
it's stew and bread and cheese and wine.
Cheese is delicious.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, pretty good.
cheese is delicious when it's not served in brick form and all you get.
Government cheese.
No, it's boring when it's all you get. You cannot make cheese not delicious.
But yes, bread, cheese, stew, wine, water. No one, the legal drinking age in Exandria is question mark, question mark, question mark. Anyone can have wine if they so choose.
Yes,
all of you
let's
are
give
young
the
adults.
let's give the 5-year-old, like 30-pound mouse person, a glass of wine and see how badly this goes.
Tonk.
I mean, do you drink it?
No,
Um,
if anything, it's too fancy for a ship rat.
Gesby likes fancy. Gesby will drink the wine.
but yeah. Any conversations to be had before?
Nashka seems to be of the opinion that the wine is too light. Used to dwarven ale.
How does everybody seem being, a couple nights out of home at this point?
Excited.
This is the farthest
Pretty
from home.
neutral.
Yeah, this is the farthest from home the lot of you have been in a while. The
Yep.
farthest inland any of you have ever been.
Nashka seems to be sort of like task oriented at the moment and is like, ingest food, rest, move on to next stage of task in morning. She's very much like, all right, this is what we're doing now.
Sure. I'm just curious if anybody seems sad, homesick, discomfited.
Does Grouper seem sad, homesick, or discomfited?
No, I right now I'm just kind of worried about everybody else. No, not worried, but just checking in.
Meanie Manny might be a tiny bit, but mostly the good goblins are fine.
Not even an iota of that.
So not in a creepy way. Davina. Sorry.
always a good
Um,
way to start a
Buckle
statement.
up,
Perfect way
everybody.
to start a statement.
Davina's kind of keeping an eye on Ella and Grouper. Just how they're reacting to everything and how both of them seem to be doing emotion-wise.
It's emotionally voyeuristic, not sexually voyeuristic.
I think probably like Davina knows Grouper really well. I think the fact that Ella seems to be doing so well and so excited to be out and away from home on an adventure, I think Grouper is like putting on a brave face, but I think they've known each other since they were little kids. I
Yeah.
think you can tell he's a little worried. Not sad or anything, but just like a little hyper aware.
On alert.
I realize a little hyper aware is an oxymoron, but
Yeah, and Ella is too focused on the moment and like the fact that they're out doing something, certain information that may have been disclosed by the guy that let us through, that was told not for us not to do, that Ella will definitely be doing. Listen, you mentioned sentient animated magical effects. How can we not go looking for those?
Fair.
To have any notion that anything might be wrong.
Ella wanders off, finds a wandering, finds an animate fireball.
Yep.
His friends.
By friends, you
But
mean
yeah.
killing or
Yeah.
kindling.
That's how you be friends with an animate fireball.
All right. So you have your meal. You find your bunks. Grouper's bunk is a tub.
Yay!
And you get a long rest and go to sleep, waking up in the morning. Gathering your things together in the morning, you head to the southern gate of the north wall. They open it up, and before you stretches out the Tuarian jungle. You could see it from the other side of the cleft, but it not close enough to make out details. On this side, it is a densely populated jungle. It seems almost at odds with how much the rest of the island is just a plain, is like just a grassland, on an angle. This is a difficult to walk through dense jungle, a level of dense jungle. There's a clear cut path that heads south along the southwest along the cleft. But other than that, it is wild expanse. Clear evidence of animal activity throughout, that you can hear and see and smell. The temperature, the humidity kind of increases as well, oddly. Like, you wouldn't expect just crossing the bridge to increase the humidity as much as it has, but it has. And you are staring out at the biggest, so far, adventure of your lives. And that's where we're going to take our break real quick. So if those of you that are watching live, please stay tuned for these commercial messages. And remember, when we take our break, you take yours. So stand up, stretch your legs, move around, do whatever you need to do. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. And we're back. A dinosaur story. Apologies for the
Took a
extended
while, but the
break.
dinosaurs are alive.
Yeah, we were working on resurrecting the dinosaurs. That's why we had such a long break. Anyways,
And they will be played by Timothy Dalton
yes, and Roger Moore,
and Roger Moore.
who by the end of his run did look like a dinosaur. Anyways, we left off before the break. So the party, you've just stepped beyond the southern gate of the north wall. The Tuarian jungle stretches before you, dense, thickly packed jungle, rife with life and danger, and a very clearly well-worn patrol path heading southwest. And the gate shuts behind you.
All right, let's get moving.
Okay.
Yep.
Where are you heading?
Southwest to the river.
Right, so following
Yep,
the path.
Following the path.
Following the patrol path. All right, cool. So you follow the patrol path.
I'm keeping my eyes for off the path. I'm looking for cool shit.
All right, everyone can go ahead and give me perception checks while you're heading towards the river.
Keeping an eye out for potential materials while I'm walking. 14.
19 via nat 20. Oh no!
Jack. Which of in this particular scenario, which of the good goblins do you think is more likely to be wandering closer to the forest than the center of the path? Are you?
You may be muted.
I believe Jack is might be muted.
Meanie Manny.
Meanie Manny? Okay. Hardware mute. Okay. Nat 20 and a nat 1 and a 23. With the person that got the nat 20, Jeremy, roll me a D100.
Okay. 11. That's more my style.
Okay. So, on the way towards the river, there are lots of different things to see. Lots of different animals, most of whom are staying away from the path. It seems like the creatures of the living creatures of the jungle, at least, seem to have gotten it understood that you don't go near the patrol path, which is probably why it's considered a relatively safe area to be in. Elefira, while you're looking around with that 20, you see something odd weaving in and out of the trees far in the distance. It's hard to tell exactly what it is, but whatever it is, it looks to be... You're kind of assuming it's like a fire elemental of some kind, because there's some sort of entity of flame that is maneuvering through the tree lines and not lighting anything on fire. Off in the distance. The rest of you...
Oh my god, guys.
The rest of you
Yeah, but
don't necessarily notice that. You do see that there's plenty of activity in the jungles. The rest of you, except for Tavina, though, see that as you're looking at the forest line, you realize that Meanie Manny has disappeared.
oh, hey, everybody, me?
Somebody like looking around, trying to find where Meanie Manny wandered off the path at.
Looking around, following back with the 20 and 23 for Tenebris and Grouper, very quickly as you start looking for Meanie Manny, you find a hole in the ground. It's just beyond the path, hidden by brush. You wouldn't see it unless you were looking for it. And it is this large rectangular hole in the ground. Meanie Manny, you aren't sure exactly how you ended up where you are, but at some point you fell and hit the ground pretty hard, but not hard enough to take any damage. And you find yourself sitting on a cold, what feels like metal floor. It's dark, but you've got dark vision because you're a goblin. There's this like sort of smooth metallic walls around you that seem to have some sort of glass paneling attached to them and some odd like accenting on it. Like there's some like bits of round metal and bits of square metal like jutting out at odd angles going along this metal wall. And feeling behind your head and against your back, there's this like, it's almost like a saddle stirrup, like this rung of metal, and there's a series of them going up the wall behind you.
Does any of it look like it's?
What?
Does any of it look like it's designed to be dangerous?
Hard to tell at the moment. You do hear people calling for you above you, and if you look up, you can see there's like sort of just like a square of light above you coming through at the top of whatever the shaft that you fell down is.
Does it sound like they'd be able to find me if I called out, or is that a waste of my time?
It sounds like they're close enough that if you shouted, they'd probably hear you. Yeah.
Then I will shout once and start examining this thing that I'm in.
Grouper and Tenebrous, you hear Meanie Manny shouting from that hole.
It's not a shout of oh no, I'm in danger. It's a shout of, hey, I'm right here. Oh, I'm gonna like.
Okay?
What?
Are you okay?
Unclear?
Are you hurt?
No.
Okay. We can lower down some rope.
Sure. I want to look at this for a second. He's gonna like examine the walls, run his hands across them.
Yeah.
Not
perfectly smooth. You knocked. There's an odd like echo ringing through.
So it's like hollow on the other side.
Not necessarily hollow. It doesn't sound like it's hollow on the other side, but it doesn't sound like it's a solid piece of metal either.
It's not butted up against enough to dampen.
Right. Yeah.
A ring coming out of it.
Yeah. Grouper, as you're looking down, you see there's like a rung on the side of one side of the like shaft. That looks like it might serve as like a ladder. There's a series of rungs going down.
I'm gonna think back to my dungeoneering classes with Brother Martin, and I'll take my it's not a 10-foot pole, but I will take my fishing pole, and I'll poke at the rung to see if there seems like it moves if you put weight on it.
Doesn't look like it does, no. It looks to be like made of solid metal and growing or protruding out of a metallic wall.
Najka, it seems like something you should look at.
Am I close enough to hear being called for?
Oh yeah, no. Like when Grouper and Tenebrous actively said, "Hey, Meanie Manny's missing," so like,
yeah. So I mean, if I get called for, I'll sort of walk over and look down. Is there any space down there?
I mean, is there?
Yeah, I mean, you're in what looks like some sort of corridor, maybe. It's about a 10 by, it's like a 10 feet wide court, like 10 foot wide from wall to wall, and then going further down, and it looks like it goes about probably another 30 feet down before it hits what looks like a wall, but with glass attached to it.
I will point out to Najka the rung. Say, I checked it I mean, to see at least if it moved, but it looks like it might be a ladder.
Only one
Any
way to find
chance-
out.
Any chance this whole pit is made of the stuff you're looking for?
I mean, that metal definitely looks interesting if I can work it, but for now, let's see what's down here. Nashka says you're just climbing down the ladder.
Grouper's gonna just check quickly to make sure everybody else has come back to where we are and are not just like wandering off down the path.
So, Elefira, it looked like
Goblins, yes.
several things got noticed at once. You noticed the one thing and pointed out, and then everyone else noticed that Meanie Manny was there. Did you change your attention to Meanie Manny, or are you still looking for that fire thing?
I mean, did it happen in such an order that I would have definitely noticed the mini mini thing?
Yeah, no, because it was like you noticed that at the same time that Grouper and the others noticed that Meanie Manny wasn't there. So
Okay.
sort of almost simultaneously, you pointing out a thing and everyone else pointing out that Meanie Manny wasn't there.
Okay. I have not wandered off alone. As much as I want to.
The terrible thought came to mind. You didn't wander off alone. You took a flop with you. Just picked up flop.
On the other hand, what if I made a wisdom check decide?
Feel free.
I hate that, but I love it.
Keep in mind, wisdom is my dump stat.
Yep.
I know. I'm dating you.
Okay, I'm staying. It's fine.
Dice are like, do not kill your character right now.
Audibly, like, not
Until
audibly,
later.
like, visibly frustrated, but understanding. Right now, the importance is getting our friend free. But I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to track visually where it's the flame thing is going.
Sin, with a
Yes.
4 perception, does Davina realize what's going on?
You
With
didn't
all the
notice
others?
you didn't notice that Meanie Manny was missing, but people actively
Mhm.
said that Meanie Manny was missing, so you would notice,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
You weren't the first to notice, but you haven't been deafened by anything because of a low perception roll. So
Nashka is climbing down the ladder to join Meanie Manny.
So, yeah,
down in whatever this place
it's
is.
a little bit awkward of a space to climb down to because the ladder doesn't start above the hole. But reaching down and grabbing and then lowering your legs down and then following suit, yeah, no, there's a rung of ladder. There's a rung of metal that just a rung ladder, I should say, that just goes all the way down to the floor functionally. It feels like this is about a 40-foot drop.
Not the worst drop in the world, but not worth falling down. If anyone else is coming down, try and use that ladder.
Okay. Should we all come down? Should some of us stay up here? You know,
Maybe
push
keep an eye
rocks?
on things until we see what's down
I'll
here. and if
stay
we
up
need-
here.
I'll stay with her.
The good goblins are going down.
The good goblins and I will look into this for a minute.
Okay.
Would Peas or Gatsby go down first?
Peas.
Okay. As Peas begins to go down, he does see that there's like a lever switch immediately inside the hole, just by the ladder that you can reach from the ladder while you're climbing.
Has Nadja's already gone down, right?
Yeah, Najka's already down.
Oh, then Peas will. Can Peas get her attention real easy without saying anything?
Not from this distance, no.
Okay. Then we're going to confer with Gatsby instead. So I have to make the decision of whether or not to pull it myself. How smart am I? I am not very smart. I'm also going to make a wisdom to see if we should pull the lever.
Well, dear boy.
Should we pull the lever?
I mean,
We got a 6.
I feel like a 6 is yes.
All right, we're going to pull the lever.
So does Peas pull it, or does you let Gatsby pull it after Gatsby gets on the ladder?
I don't think Gesby goes down the ladder. I think Peace asks Gesby what she thinks, and she shrugs, and so he pulls the little lever, and Gesby's still standing on above the hole.
So yeah, as Pease pulls the lever, those of you that are still above the hole watch as the hole shuts. It's just two trapezoidal pieces of metal just iris close and completely seal off the hole.
There was a lever. So
Did
like
Nashka see the light go away from above?
Oh yeah, no. When the light cuts off, you can immediately look up and see Pease, and yeah.
Peace looks a little startled.
What was that piece?
There was a lever.
Can you put it back the other way?
He'll give that a go.
And put it back the other way, and ours is back open.
All right,
Well,
so it's a
it goes
door.
both ways.
It's a door. All right. Good to know. Maybe keep it open for now until we need to close it.
Right. Good goblins down the hatch.
Okay. Good goblins down the hatch. Said the Kraken. All right, so down in the hole, we have the good goblins and Najka. Is Tenebrae staying up or going down?
Tenebrae will go down.
Okay.
Even 50-50 split.
So Grouper and Elefira and Davina up top still. Tenebrae and the good goblins and Najka down the hole. We talk about 50-50 split. There are 3 good goblins. It is definitely more than a 50-50 split. It was a 50-50 split before Tenebrae came down. But yeah, Tenebrae comes down. Does Tenebrae have dark vision?
Don't think so.
It is dark.
No.
It is very dark down here.
Gesby will check in to see if you can see. And if not, she will hold your hand because she can see.
Yeah, like you can see a little bit illuminated by the light from above. But beyond so basically the way it works is that the ladder comes down into like a 5-foot square, and then the hall is a 10-foot hall immediately off where the ladder is. So once you turn the corner around from the ladder, it's pitch black.
Yeah, no, I can't see shit down here.
So these like buttons and things that are like marking this wall.
Mm-hmm.
Najka has seen like some of the wild steam machines made by like the Armigers Guild and such,
Yeah.
or the Mechanauts Guild rather. Does this seem like an interface of some kind?
What languages do you speak?
Common and Dwarvish.
Yeah.
I've got Goblin.
Would common and goblin you would, yeah.
Yeah,
Tenebrae?
well, I was adding to the list.
Yeah.
Urban, common, and primordial.
Tenebrae, primordial. You recognize that there are actual like, so Najka, yes, it does kind of look like it might be an interface of some kind. Tenebrae, you can see that there are primordial, like there's etchings in primordial, like sort of almost like it looks almost like it was carved into the metal, but more precisely than you would carve something. Above certain arrays of these protruding nodules, one of which is the primordial rune for light.
Tenebrae, only like half being able to read this,
It's a little
and
switch.
it's like running his hands over. It's like, wait,
Yeah, this is
this
illuminated
says
by
this,
the
this
this
says
is
this.
illuminated by the light from the hatch. It's in that first like section of the hallway.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's
still awful
darker
dark.
than it is
Oh, yeah.
up top.
Still very dark.
Yeah.
Still much dark. Yeah.
Still
Yeah,
very
this-
dark. It's like, okay, I could see etching here. Feeling out the etching though. It's
Yeah.
like,
And there's a little.
okay, I can make out these shapes and
there's like a little
light.
like rectangular switch right next to it.
This one says light and primordial, and there's a switch. Do I just flip it?
See if it turns anything on.
Flips the switch.
You flip the switch immediately. There is this soft hum and glow, as you're not certain exactly from where, but there are these. The hallway itself is not as tall as the ladder shaft. The hallway is only about 15 feet up. The hallway, 15 feet up to the roof. But like the roof of the hallway begins to emit a soft sort of like white blue glow, and the hallway is illuminated, and you now have a much better clear indication of where of sort of the space that you're in. It's got this sort of dark gray metallic flooring and walls with lots of in what you seem to be like sort of some sort of unfamiliar diagrams and symbols behind glass on a certain few points. You can see that in Primordial there are things that read things like you're not familiar with the words themselves, but there's definitely, you can make out a word that says pressure, word that says altitude, word that says there's one that says orientation, that has like sort of a circular graph under glass. And then down the side next to the ladder, now that the lights are on, you can see it just says in Primordial emergency maintenance shaft.
Are we in?
Tenebra's active translates everything.
Are we in light switches are normal fantasy, or is this noteworthy?
I mean, I feel
This is
magic
noteworthy.
lighting is fairly common, but like actively, like it's not like a thing that you will see everywhere.
Yeah, magic lighting is a rune stone that emits light that has been set on a desk or hanging from the ceiling or something like that. Not just and not
This
just
is not incomprehensible and also noteworthy.
yes, like you can
Like,
comprehend
this is
what you're
highly
seeing.
advanced magical lighting from what we can see.
Yeah.
Pease is immediately fascinated.
Can I do an Arcana check to see if any of this seems familiar to like certain periods of history?
Yeah, you can do Arcana or History check, either one.
I have a guess of what period of history this might be.
With 17 Arcana, I mean, Cineverse, the first thing you think of is that this is pre-calamity tech. Like this is stuff from before the calamity, as far as you can tell. Nobody makes things like this anymore. Nobody knows how.
This is the kind of tech that Aormatons come from.
Mhm.
For instance, the thing that Meanie Manny has.
It definitely looks more refined than the thing that than the gauntlet that Mini Manny has. But yeah, no, you could absolutely believe that this is similar technology. And at the end of the hallway, now you can see a little bit better. It's very clearly like a wall that has a split in the middle of it with glass indicating that there is more hallway on the other side of it. Some sort of door. Like you would say it was like a saloon style door, except there's no hinges.
Oh, did any of the things say open?
No, I mean not down here. If Tenebris had been had seen the lever, it would have said open underneath the lever, open/close underneath the lever. But down here, there's nothing, or by that door, there's nothing specifically indicating an open or a close function.
This place is interesting. I don't know how much further we can get without getting through that door.
Tenebris, with your actually being a shipwright, go ahead and make me another Arcana roll. Actually, yeah, another Arcana roll. 20. The words that you're seeing here and what this looks like. The words that you're seeing, you're not familiar with the specific construction of airships, but a lot of the language that you're seeing here is stuff that you would see in relation to an airship. This seems like it might be some sort of like statistical readout for something that would be relevant to an airship.
We did hear escape hatch though, right?
Emergency maintenance.
Yeah, something
yeah.
like that.
Yep.
So Pease is going to try closing the outside door again, because that makes sense given it.
Okay. Yeah, you climb back up. Actually, you don't even climb up because Tenebris can see that there's another lever. There's another lever very similar to that one that says open close at the bottom of the shaft too. So you can grab that lever, shift it. Those of you that are up top, the shaft closes.
Yeah. Do you say anything to us before you do this?
No, Pease doesn't talk unless it's necessary. It just happens.
I think
Gesby did mention that there was a lever when it closed unexpectedly.
Is Grisby still up there? With
Gesby
us?
was before, but now is on the other side of the door.
Okay. I think as soon as it closes again, there's banging. If it's the kind of material that will transmit noise.
Oh
and
yeah,
not
yeah.
some
No.
sort of...
You all can hear the banging from up top.
Does another door open when that one closes?
No.
Pease
Oh
will go
shit,
audit.
guys! Knocking back.
Pease wants to open the door. The door to the hallway. The door underneath.
Is there a lever near the emergency door, the maintenance door?
Not one.
Are
that
you
so know.
okay? Are you guys okay?
We're okay. Are you okay?
No. I'm on the same side as you.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm trying to communicate.
Sorry.
No, I think you and I are probably both yelling through the closed door.
Nashka kind of looks around, doesn't see a lever for that door. Hang on a minute, let's not let them panic, because that didn't seem to open anything. And we'll just really quick flip that lever back open.
So Grouper, you're small. Were you fully on the hatch while you were yelling?
Yeah. Yeah, it probably was.
So the hatch opens and Grouper falls.
Can I catch Grouper?
Are you guys okay?
You can. So Grouper
Can I
make an
catch
acrobatics.
Grouper as he falls?
Grouper make an acrobatics check so you can catch yourself.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, I thought about doing this with Tenebris as well the first time. It's like, oh, it's closed. Is this weight bearing?
With a
Oh,
12,
that's-
it's a small enough shaft. With a 12, Najee, you go to catch, and Grouper catches the ladder himself.
Okay.
Oh.
Why
Okay.
would she be standing on a door?
You know what? That was on me. I didn't think.
Are you okay?
Grouper?
Yep. I'm okay. I'm okay. What? Are you guys okay?
I'm gonna get both hands on the rung at this point.
Are you guys okay? We saw the door close twice.
We're fine. We're just trying to figure out what's going on down here.
Okay.
He's trying to manually open the door.
I'm gonna
If it's an emergency.
Tenebris is down by the door just looking at the wall, seeing if there's more etchings.
So
I'm gonna come back up. Don't shut it while I'm going through.
I would not want to. I would be worried it might cut you in half.
Yeah, I don't want to get.
Yes,
full of-
please don't cut him in half.
All right.
I do not close the door on Grouper.
on Grouper.
I'll shimmy back up quickly and say,
Okay, I'm out. Sorry about that.
Tenebris. So Tenebris is over by the door. How many of the good goblins are over by the door, Jack?
Pease and Gesby. Meanie Manny's. No. Meanie Manny's kind of just in the middle of the area.
Yeah, so looking at the door, there's a very clear seam in the middle. There's not enough space between it for you to get anything in it. You can only see the seam because it's designed to be seen. Piling on top of each other to look through the window, you can see that beyond the door there is the corridor continues, but now instead of the walls being sheer metal, there are these pipes, like series of cylindrical pipes running along the corridor inside, and the floor over here has this sort of like flat metal, just like flat square metal tiles. On the other side, the floor has this grated metal look, and there are more pipes and stuff underneath it. And it looks like that,
Hey.
that corridor curves ever so slightly enough that you can't see very far down it before you can't see any further.
Hey, Gatsby, I wonder if those controls on the wall back there do anything with these pipes.
Let's find out. And she'll go mess with the controls with you. If you have a way that feels useful to do it, she'll do it that way. But otherwise, we're just gonna play with the controls and see what happens.
Yeah, a lot of the interfaces are unlabeled as far as like the switches and knobs and things. Roll me a D100, one of you.
I got it.
Okay.
I
One.
should not be rolling.
I don't know.
One.
Low might be good. Who knows?
So yeah, you're just flipping switches and knobs, and nothing seems to be changing at all anywhere. One in particular. There's one in particular though that it's sort of off to one side. It's not really near any of the readouts or anything like that. And there was some language etched above it, but it's been damaged over time and it's not readable anymore. And you go over and you hit that, and nothing seems to happen. Up top, though, the three of you that are up there, Elefira, you've been sort of keeping an eye on that fire entity, whatever it was. For no apparent reason, it stops and turns. You can't tell which direction it's turning because it doesn't have any visible physiology that you could determine, you could assign
Starts to
head
rotate.
to. Yeah, but it definitely rotates and doesn't move any further.
Just to be safe, I am going to. It's not going to be super effective, but it's something to start with. I am going to shape water, try and pull moisture off the ground, wherever, pull it up into something that I can throw at it if it needs to. It's fire. This is water.
Sure, yeah, you can shape water. Just grab. It's
Yep.
very humid, so you can grab some of that humidity out of the air and just turn it
Yep.
into like a bubble of water that you're holding.
And I'm just holding in case it comes our way.
Or you could even turn it into like a spike of ice if you wanted.
No, I think. Well, actually, yes, because otherwise, if it doesn't attack us in one action's turn, I'll have to keep doing it. So, yeah, ice works.
Yeah, so you summon some water
Yep.
out of the air, spin it into an icicle and freeze it, and then grab it.
Yep. Davina,
Yeah.
you know that fire thing? Actually, you
Uh,
might not. There was a fire thing in the jungle. It suddenly
Okay.
stopped, and it's not coming this way yet. Just keep. I sort of turn your direction so you can see it.
Is that what you were
okay.
focused on?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I didn't mean to talk over you. Please go ahead.
No, I didn't hear you. I was wondering what you said.
Oh, Gruber said, "Is that what you were so focused on, bub?"
Uh-huh.
I got a 24 insight earlier to
Yep.
notice.
Oh, yes.
Okay. What was it doing before? Is it a
It
good or
was
bad thing
moving
that
around.
stopped?
I don't know. If
Okay.
it stopped. I'm just letting all of us know in case it noticed us and decides it's time to attack. Nobody's surprised. It's cool. I have an ice spear.
Davina kind of just waves at
Like
the
an
fire
ice
thing.
spike, really.
I am calling it what I'm going to call it,
Sure.
whether it's a spear or not.
Wait,
As
did-
you
did I
as you
miss
as
when
you
got
wave at
the
it,
ice spear?
as you
Mhm.
wave at it, Davina, you notice that a second figure starts to move near it. And it's hard to make out shapes again, but this one looks like it's made of ice.
Does it react to me waving at all?
Not that you can tell,
Okay.
but there's now two of
Are
them.
they? Do they seem aggressive towards one another?
it's impossible to tell from this distance.
Okay.
It's probably fine. It's probably no big deal. I just trying to let all of us know. Because who knows, it might be able to go from there to here and nothing flat.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Also, out of character, did I miss? I must have where she got an ice spike.
You
Water.
shape water to pull moisture from the air into a.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It happened 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Pease is systematically going to the controls, flipping something, going to peek through the hole to see if anything's changed.
Nashka will sort of look over her shoulder at Meanie Manny and the gauntlet and be like,
Give me
"Hey, Meanie Manny."
really quick. Give me an insight check for the good goblins.
I'm gonna get a nat 1, just so you know. I'm gonna get a nat 1.
That
I
wasn't
did
that one.
get a
but it
nat
was a five.
1.
Yeah, 4. Okay. Tenebrous, give me an insight check as well. Since you're the other one messing with controls. With a 14, DC was 10. With a 14, as you and the good goblins are messing with things and nothing's happening, you're thinking about it. You know that the gauntlet that Meanie Manny uses doesn't do anything unless Meanie Manny has put it on and like turned it on. You get the sense that even though the lights are on, this facility, whatever these buttons do, isn't powered. So it's not, none of the buttons are doing anything right now because they're not on.
Meanwhile, Nashka is looking over her shoulder. Hey, Meanie Manny, do you want to see if anything reacts to that gauntlet of yours?
He'll put it on and start physically examining the surroundings using it.
As you go over, so you start feeling down, nothing really seems to react until you get to the door. And you get over the door and you put the hand of the gauntlet on the door, and there's a thrum of electric power from the gauntlet into the door, and the door opens.
Pease
And it
very
just
quickly takes the gauntlet.
Slides into the walls.
Pease is now wearing the gauntlet and is heading down the hallway.
Oh, hold on! Don't go down the hallway. The
Pease is not going to be stopped.
The control panel also takes power. It seems like it's not powered either.
Nashka's gonna follow after Pease. Careful, don't get too far ahead.
So
Gesby's also following Pease.
going down the hall, the corridor curves around following these pipes until it opens up into sort of an interchange. There's like a four-way interchange, and you see that the pipes that are going underneath the floor and above your head go in multiple different directions, going left, right, forward, up, and there's just this ring of grating centered around a central column of glass that's sort of separating you from the internal of this column. Inside that column, there's a large jagged crystal just sort of floating in the middle of the column, currently dull. It's not lit up like the lights in the ceiling are.
Hand goes up.
Put the hand on the glass, and that crystal begins to light. It begins to glow a little bit while the hand is there.
Pease is having the time of his life.
The crystal goes from the sort of dull gray color to glowing this sort of soft green blue. As it just begins to slowly shift and rotate as it floats in the middle of this glass column. You're not certain what it does, but it's reacting to the glove. If you take the glove away from the glass, it loses that color and goes back to being inert.
That's fine. We'll just keep going and see what else we can find.
So at this, there's basically 3 different ways you could go from here. I mean, 4 different ways. You could go back the way you came, left, right, or straight.
We're not going back the way we came, but we will take group suggestion as to which other way.
Meanwhile,
Is there
up
any
top.
distinction between these other paths?
1 second. Meanwhile, up top, Elefira, Grouper, and Davina, are the 3 of you basically watching these 2 things right now?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, for sure. keeping an eye
Mhm.
on them. Oh,
So-
you know what? I will be looking around behind us just in case they're a distraction.
You watch, and as these things begin to move in a way that reveals that they are giant disembodied hands. As they shift, you realize that what they are, each of them is they are shaped like a pair of hands joined at the thumbs with fingers splayed out. As both of them stand up, like sort of like roll back onto like the fat of the palm, grasp lock fingers, and the joint
need to
thumb begins to start like wrestling or like flexing towards each other. You make an insight check if you want.
I think we need to get in the hole.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war.
We need to get in the hole.
That seems like they're having fun.
Elefira, you need to get in the hole. Davina, you need to get in the hole. Grouper, they're doing a thumb war?
So Elefina is like, we need to get in the hole, and Grouper just goes, "Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Oh, they're friends. Right.
Yeah, in the hole.
Rupert, get in the hole.
I'm grabbing Grouper and trying to push him in the hole.
So Davina will help.
We've talked about this. You know I stand a tall queen, but we've talked about this. You got to give me some agency." This is while he is being carried.
Still being pushed into the hole.
Wait till we're alone.
I think one of us is pulling and one is pushing
Yep.
him right now.
Maybe one of those is a fire hand. You're a you're you.
They're playing a game.
Push.
Oh, they're playing.
You're a seafood dinner. Get in there.
The sound,
They're having fun.
the sound of this and General Panic comes down the hallway towards where you are, Najka, and the goblins are, and Tenebris. I'm assuming you're still back further, so you can hear this much closer.
I'm just resetting all the switches and that back to what they were when we came down, and then I just look up. It's like, the hell?
As you're getting down, whichever one of you is last down, you can see that lever that piece had pulled earlier. If anyone wants to throw it.
I mean, I don't, but I'm in the middle of this
Yeah.
concerned sandwich.
I'm assuming it's
Davina
like
will throw it.
like group, like Elefira Grouper and then Davina, yeah, so you throw
Yep.
it, close the
Yeah,
the hatch above you.
she's pulling. Davina's like pushing him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this commotion is heard from behind as the hatch closes. And
Well, it sounds like the gang's all here. Is there any notable difference between these three other paths?
there's signage that seems to be pointing in multiple different directions that has that same sort of lettering that you can't read.
So Notchka will call back. Tenebris, we got more signs over here. Can I borrow your eyes?
No, but I can look at them myself.
That was kind of what I meant.
After putting all the knobs and that back to their default positions, goes and looks at the signs.
Elefira, Grouper, and Davina getting down to the bottom of the ladder. Now you are seeing all this other stuff that they've been seeing this whole time. The metal hallway, metal corridor, lots of
I
little knobs
believe
and readouts.
Tenebris isn't the only one here who reads Primordial.
No,
yeah,
like
of the
a
three,
bunch of us do.
yeah, the three of you do. How many of you read Primordial as well?
Maybe
Speak
all of you
Aquan.
speak Aquan or Primordial.
Yeah, dialect
Yeah.
of
Both.
Yeah.
Aquan is Primordial. So yeah, all three of you can also read the signs and the writing that's in this area.
Oh, wow. You guys have been busy.
Like halfway down.
Huh.
We're down over this way. And continues along.
He's is just waiting expectantly for Tenebris to provide information about the letters.
So, the other three of you following after?
Yes.
All right. You all eventually catch up to Peas in this sort of interchange, this pipe interchange with the crystal in the middle. Is Peas currently powering the crystal or no?
Not right now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry, what was that, Gruber?
What's been going on?
Place
He's
appears to be some kind
power
of
the crystal to
pre-calamity
explain
tech.
what's been going on. Crystal power.
We saw two big elemental hands that were playing games.
Playing games.
No, I mean just real playing games.
Weird. Maybe it has something to do with this place.
Maybe. I mean, they did say that there were spells that were moving around, so I mean, I think it's probably those kind of spells. They didn't seem aggressive, at least to me.
Well,
Davina, back me up here.
Oh no, they seemed aggressive. Grouper had a death wish. We threw him down the hole.
I didn't have a death wish. I just said I didn't think we needed to run away. You know what? This is coming from a place. You guys are worried. You know what? Maybe I misread it. We're all safe. That's the important thing.
Yes.
Being
I
gonna
think
say,
he-
what do these signs say?
Oh, and I open my mouth, and it comes out sounding like sand.
So yes, all of you. So look at those of you that can read Primordial. Yeah, let me pull up my thing here real quick, so I can keep track of this. None of the Primordial that's written on the signs here seems to be in full-on words. It's an interesting combination of characters that don't really form what you would translate as a word. They more translate as abbreviated designations. Don't make sense to you, but very clearly would make sense to someone who knew what these designations were meant to say. It's so the three signs that you're seeing. Roughly translate to I'm just going to put it into the into the chat here. So there are four signs technically. The one that last one is the one that points back to the way you just came. And then from left to right, it's the PF Arm 01 mate, PF Arm 02 mate, PF Arm 03 mate, and then behind you, PF EMR HTC mate.
That one sounds the most interesting.
That's where we came from.
Oh, that's where we came from? Wait, oh.
Yeah, the
Arm
last one
one.
is where you came from.
Then let's go to Arm 1. He's go to Arm 1.
EMR made
Emergency
maintenance?
hatch maintenance.
Yeah.
Which is where we came from.
Do we think the arms mean armory, or are we thinking this thing has actual arms, like the mantis thing?
Could be either or both.
He's is on his way to find out.
Yeah, let's check out Arm 1.
Can I think of anything that has? I know this is a robot thing, but can I think of anything in nature that has 3 arms?
Give me a nature check.
Nope.
Dog.
3 is a weird number of arms.
A dog just lost one leg.
Oh, I miss Yardstick. He was a good boy.
Most things either have 0, 2, or 4, or more, significantly more. Few things have 3, naturally.
Yeah. I was just curious because the other thing seemed like it perhaps had looked like a mantis. I was curious if maybe this looked like a thing.
So yeah, heading down PF Armo 1 main corridor. The pipes eventually get ducked back into the walls, hidden away at least, because they're no longer visible as you head down this corridor. Are all of you following?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, at this point, I think we're staying together for sure.
There's another one of those. There's another one of these doors. The sort of like the sealed doors with glass paneling. At the end of this corridor. I'm assuming you open it up with the glove. Open it with the glove. Yep. Go ahead.
Is it reasonable that in my cooking utensils I might have some charcoal or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd
Actually,
like
you
to
might,
just
honestly, you might have some chalk because chalk is good as an antacid.
Okay, awesome. I'd just like to make marks on the walls as we walk along to track where we've been.
Easy enough.
So every 20 feet or so, I'll just draw an arrow in the direction that we're going.
Opening the door up, moving further in, you find yourself in what seems to be... there are more pipes in this room, but they all seem to coalesce into larger sections of metal. Several of the smaller pipes that sort of flow around, go around the room, and then connect to large barrel drums that have that are metallic, that have more pipes coming off of them and going into various different places. There look to be about 4 different drums at different points in this room, with another one of those large crystals in a glass cylinder in the middle of the room. This room is much larger than the corridor that you've been in previously. And then there doesn't seem to be a door or anything heading off of this. This just seems to be like a dead end as far as the corridor is concerned.
So let's do a pass with the glove just in case.
Sure. The only thing that reacts to the glove is the crystal. Everything else doesn't seem like it is doing anything specific. Those of you that can see primordial can see that can read primordial can see that each of these 4 barrels is labeled. They are labeled. Hang on. So CONT dot and then 01020334, and the first one is ACD, the second one is MGM, the third one is LFD, and the fourth one is PLS.
Is there a lion behind the second one?
No.
Is there an Amazon before it?
No.
Are they openable to see what's inside of them?
Not clearly. No clear indication as to how as a way to do that. No.
Does Minky Manny seem okay?
Yeah, he's following up, and he looks rather serious, but he looks fine.
Gripper will kind of go. How is Meanie Manny with being like touched?
Like he doesn't have a problem with it, but it's also not something he seeks out.
Okay, no, I just mean like if he goes up and Grouper kind of like gives him a friendly shoulder bump. Is that?
Yeah, he'll be fine with that.
They're about the same height, so he kind of goes up and bumps him. And goes, "Meanie, you doing okay? That was a rough fall, but look at what you found."
Not sure why it didn't hurt, but I'm not one to look a gift fall in the hole.
You know what's weird is that actually made really good sense. I'm just glad you're okay, but I mean, this is pretty amazing. Good job.
I would like to take credit for it.
Well, okay, go for it.
He just gives you
great at searching.
Grouper gives you.
Keep it up, buddy. You got
The
it.
best discoveries are made on a nat one.
Absolutely.
Notchka sort of looks around. Does anything seem to change in the room when the crystal is powered?
Not that you can tell, no, other than the crystal itself.
Jeremy's like, I discover new characters for myself when I roll that ones.
Whole new worlds when you roll net ones.
Nobody can think of
Right.
anything else to try here. And
Uh,
another hallway.
I can't tell what all of those containers are supposed to be abbreviated for, but based on what I'm being told, the first one sounds kind of like acid, probably for some kind of reaction, and the third one sounds like fluid. I'm not sure what the other two are.
Last one seems really polite.
Magma.
Ooh.
Potentially.
Can you barrel magma?
It's all elements. Acid, water, magma, fire.
Plasma? I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know if Grouper would know that word. If that's a word in this
You make an
setting.
intelligence save. Plasma is a word in this. In this
Can
setting.
I arcana this to try and figure out
Sure.
if A, I'm being accurate, and C, if so, what the other ones might be? Because my brain is drying
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Arcana check.
Nope. It just
Arcana.
sounds accurate to me, and that's the furthest I've gotten.
Grouper
Yeah.
with a 16. I don't know what the +4 is for, but with a 16, you've got a yeah. You know with the word plasma.
My first good roll.
I don't know what it is either. I mean, bless is turned off. I don't know why it's doing that.
I'll look at your sheet later.
Maybe resilience or something.
Its reading is being because of bless. You might check your global save modifier.
Can Gatsby make anything of
With a 19.
Elafira's line of thought?
Yeah, with a 19, acid is typically considered its own. Like if you're talking about like magical elemental like damage types or things like that, acid is typically considered its own elemental damage type. So
True.
following that line of thinking, acid, magma, fire, fluid, water, maybe ice, cold, plasma, lightning, electricity.
I mean,
For the
it
record,
does say plasma, but I think that's the extent of his concept.
Cool. Ella's mindset on this is, as a water genasi, I am resistant to acid.
Yeah.
Because that's the resistance that water
Absolutely.
tends to give. So
We could shoot it with electricity. But like, I don't know what else to do with those
They seem to be
labels.
containers. Maybe let's check the other two rooms and see if there's anything different in there.
Also, guess with a 19 as far as like utilization. Yeah, this seems to be, from what you can tell based on the piping. If you make the assumption that, first of all the piping is different colors, so you can make the assumption that each pipe color is specific to whatever fluid is being contained in each one. If you consider how much piping is going into these barrels and then how little piping is coming back out to go to a separate direction, this might be like a pressurization thing, where it's building pressure of these specific things, gathering into a specific container and then pressurizing to go somewhere else. That's the closest you can think. Also, looking at with that 19, looking at the crystals might be reacting to the gauntlet because the gauntlet is a power source, but they might be serving more as either a magical channel or an indicator of activity. And so like if activating one crystal might not do anything, but activating all the crystals might do something, and you just don't have the ability to do that right now.
Yeah. But Pease isn't ready to let go yet, so he wants to look at another.
Yeah.
Another.
So you all head to, I'm assuming, Armo 2.
Yeah, let's check out O2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heading into Armo 2, mate. Same thing. Go down the corridor. There's another door. Open it up. Move in. This time, there's no additional piping in here specifically, but you do find it. There are, along one wall, there are square glass panels in which there are entities. They look almost like they each look almost like a pile of an element, like an ooze, but elementally aligned. There is this what looks to be like a shifting and moving and animate ball of like magma, of lava in one. there is a sharp and pointy and crystalline ball of ice in another that is just sort of shifting back and forth and moving around, leaving a trail of frost on the glass as it passes. There is another that is just looks almost like it looks basically like a black pudding functionally, and like this large square black cube of gelatinous material that's shifting back and forth slightly by itself. In another one, there is it's like a contained ball of lightning, with this sort of thin, gelatinous, like skin around it. This constantly crackling electricity, just rolling around inside this individual containment sections. Each one of these has individual markings that kind of match the containments that you were seeing. The black pudding has ACD underneath it. The ball of lava has MGM underneath it. The ice ball has FLD, and then there's a brackets, and then it says CDN end bracket. And then there is and then the ball of lightning has PLS. There is another one that looks just like a regular ooze that just has FLD underneath it. That's on one side of the wall. On the there's a glass column in the central area as well, and then on the other side there are these like it's a series of what look like some sort of steel or metal structure that extends out like sort of a many-armed device of some kind. There are lots of these, like, connected to the wall here. A spur of metal comes out, and then there's a rotating joint, and then another spur of metal hangs down from that, and there's like this clamp on the end of it. There are about 6 of them, sort of like along the wall, along the other wall. It seems like if they were to extend all the way, they could reach further than the wall of the than the glass wall where the creatures, the entities, are being kept.
Well, I'd say that our reads are right on the money as far as what was being contained.
Jack?
Does using the gauntlet help interact with any of it?
The crystal will activate again, but none of the mechanical arms or the glass containers will do anything. You're getting the sense, as you use it, you're getting the sense that what's happening is certain aspects of the facility seem to be reacting to the gauntlet's power, in that they can draw power from it to operate. But if it requires more than a very small amount of power, it can't do it.
Do the Uzis look alive?
Yeah, they're moving around.
How do they look in response to us? Are they tracking us? I don't know how Uzis can see.
Don't seem to be, no. They don't seem to have adjusted to how they're behaving.
What do oozes require to maintain life? Like, do they die of old age? Do they die if they don't get fed? Or are they just like a thing that keeps...
Make a either a nature or arcana check.
May I assist?
Sure. Make it with advantage.
If that's something carrying out loud.
You make it with advantage. Because I'm rolling like shit.
I don't have much of a bonus though.
I only have +1.
Okay. The same. Okay. There's the way to do it.
With the 14, you're pretty certain that oozes will just continue to exist until they are destroyed. They eat, but it's not currently known to science or magic whether or not they need to. They are creatures made of magic, and so long as they continue to have a steady fuel of ether, however that is given to them, they should theoretically persist indefinitely.
Does it look like there are ways to give them things like to feed them? Are there little tubes or chutes or other ways into their enclosures?
Not as far as you can tell.
Okay.
If nothing else is reacting here, maybe we should check the third arm before we decide what else we're doing or getting out of here.
Heading into the third, so heading out into the third one. And the third one is possibly the weirdest one yet. You've got it is a series of, you enter into the third one, and it is similar. There's a glass column with a crystal in it. Yes, I'm aware of the time, Jeremy.
Okay.
That's what. Yeah, I saw the typing.
Yep.
No,
yeah, I was just giving the heads up.
Yep, we'll end after this description.
Go.
There is another glass column in the middle with a crystal in it, and this one has a series of desks and chairs on one side of the wall with a large glass, like it looks similar to these sort of like the glassed diagrams you've seen previously, except there's nothing on it being depicted on it. It's just a blank glass screen or wall. With just white on the other side of it. Not metal like the rest of the walls around you, but just blank. All the computers seem to have similar interfaces and more complicated interfaces than you saw previously, but lots of different interface options on them. With there's another glass, like opaque or clear blank glass screen at each chair that's sort of designated for that space. One slightly more important looking desk at the back of the group, with a slightly more ornate chair that has some of the interfaces built into the chair itself. Some sort of technological aspect on the ceiling above that seems to be closed or not inactive at the moment. And then along the back wall there is a what looks like almost like a chalkboard that has looks like it at one point had things written on it, but so much time has passed that whatever was on there has just fallen off or faded or decayed just through time. This thing has been sitting here empty and blank long enough that chalk has fallen off a blackboard, basically.
Hell of a place.
This one does have a door going out.
Facility.
What?
This one does have another door going out, unlike the other two.
Well, are we calling it, or?
We will be in just a second.
Okay, then we're going.
Yeah, I'm just typing one thing real quick. Looking at the door above the, looking at the sign, because there's a sign above the other door as well. So stenciled in above the far door of this room, in Primordial, you see the words Project Armature Testing Grounds. And that's where we're going to end for this week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.